perfection. Human perfection. Human perfection.
Good evening and welcome to QTV. I'm Michael James.
I'm Sharon Mulheron.
And I'm Matthew Bowe.
QTV is Queensland's only GLBTIQ television show, and we are very excited to be bringing it to you.
Joining us tonight on the couch, we have Donna Goddard and her daughter Taylor, who will be sharing with us all about PFLAG, the Parents and Friends of Lesbian and Gays group.
We'll also be detailing all of the highlights of upcoming events in Brisbane.
But first, the news. A touching and controversial story in Queensland this week in the mainstream media has been a Queensland mum who is struggling to convince the school to accept her transgender daughter's gender transition. Her daughter was born a boy, and until this year at the age of 9, she'd been going to her primary school as a boy.
She used to misbehave, run out of class, kick teachers, and was repeatedly getting suspended. But since starting back at the same school as a girl, her grades improved and she's the happiest her parents have ever seen her. The school, however, has said that she is not allowed to use the girls' bathroom and instead that she must use the bathroom for the disabled.
Her mother is currently preparing to go to the Anti-Discrimination Commission to argue for Jane to be allowed to use the girls' bathroom. Last week, after the mother told the school she was considering making a gender identity discrimination complaint, the school renamed a disabled bathroom unisex. The mother commented, "That's a start, but it's not enough. She's not disabled, she's just a girl. And as a parent, I have to fight for her."
I think that is so important. She's only 9 years old. She doesn't need to be confused and be thinking that she's disabled when she's not.
Absolutely, damn right. She's not disabled. She knows who she is, and it's about time that the adults who've been around a lot longer than her accept it and allow her to be a healthy, happy child, which clearly she is at the moment.
Like you said, it's definitely a controversial issue, but making a disabled toilet the option is really not okay.
Luckily, the school have changed that to a unisex now. I think that's great.
It's a small step. Now, Magda Szubanski has been selected as the keynote speaker for this year's Aurora Annual Ball.
Szubanski, an internationally renowned comedian, is most famous for her works with Kath and Kim and in the Babe films. She's recently become a high-profile vocal supporter on marriage equality.
Szubanski commented, "Aurora supports so many vital organisations in the LGBTIQ community, and I feel great pride to be joining in the Aurora family."
Now, Magda is actually coming to town in Brisbane on June 28th as well.
Yeah, it's going to be part of the GLBN's events for the year, and I do believe tickets are still available if you visit glbn.org.au.
They'll go pretty fast, I can imagine.
Oh, they have had a huge run on them already.
They have sold lots. It's going to be a very exciting night. She's going to be doing a very good talk, and yeah, she's getting out there. She's doing a lot of great stuff. But speaking of people doing great stuff, Greens MP from Melbourne, Adam Bant, has announced that he will be reintroducing a marriage equality bill into Parliament in early June, regardless of the possibility of the coalition not granting a conscience vote.
The same bill failed almost 9 months ago. Bant said, "Following successful votes in New Zealand, the UK and France, this vote will ensure every MP's position is clear before the election. Tony Abbott and Julia Gillard will have the opportunity to get behind the tide of history." Isn't that great? That is so good.
I love it. And it's right. They need to, at the end of that vote, it needs to be documented who voted against this and who voted for it. And when people go to the polls on the election day, they need to remember that. And they need to remember that if they're going to be voting for a politician that has voted against the rights of them or their friends and family.
And that goes for the straight supporters within the community
definitely.
as well. You know, they've got an equal ability to support the gay and lesbian community here, and I think that they need to be mindful of that.
It just worries me that they're all saying, "Oh yes, we'll sort this out after the election." And if people don't know what a politician's policies are or a party's policies are, then how are we supposed to vote for them? I mean, obviously it's not the only factor, but. On another note, the world's first gay Bible has been published in the US. Named the Queen James Bible, the religious text has been translated to prevent homophobic misinterpretation of the Bible. All references to homosexuality being a sin are removed. The publisher of the book is unclear, however it is available online with its authors listed as God and Jesus Christ listed as a contributor.
I love that. That's good. It's great. You know, it's taking all of the rubbish out of there. It's fantastic. Now, wedding planners in New Zealand are getting ready for a busy spring season when the new legislation of marriage equality goes into effect in mid-August.
Australian Marriage Equality's national convener Rodney Croom says over 1,000 Australian same-sex couples intend to marry in New Zealand. New Zealand is set to reap a massive economic dividend from the wedding spend of those Australian same-sex couples who are tired of their country's failure to act.
Tourism New Zealand's General Manager for Australia, Tim Burgess, said there was an enormous opportunity for NZ tourism to grow as a result of the law changes. It is estimated that Australia will lose approximately $700 million worth of economic revenue for people fleeing to New Zealand to marry.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
They're just throwing the pink dollar down the drain. They don't want it here, send it somewhere else.
You know, Tasmania knew this and they wanted to get that happening down there, and the only way it can happen now is for the Australian government to make a change to our laws here.
And if it makes economic sense, then I mean there's not much else you can argue against it.
Yeah. And it's the best way to speak to the LNP. If you allow gay marriage, then there may be more dollars. More dollars is good. LNP, listen up. Now, another step for marriage equality. This Monday, Minnesota Senate passed the same-sex marriage bill, making it the 12th state in the United States to allow same-sex couples to marry, and only the second in Midwest. The law will take effect in August.
The state senator, Scott Dibble, an author of the bill, said during debate, with just a few words, we have the ability to bring loving families across the entire state of Minnesota into full sunshine of equality and freedom that they've been denied for so long. And you know what I saw actually online was a map of America and where the gay supporters are and where those that are struggling with that are located. Minnesota was right in the struggling area.
It's
so
wonderful
it's great
to see it growing. It's growing in all these places. It just we're getting more people waking up.
My more favourite map is the one of America where it lists the states where you can marry your cousin and the states where marriage equality is. And there are more states in America where you can marry your cousin than there are where there is marriage equality. So it says a lot there. But that's all of our news for this week. So if you have any stories or issues that you would like to see covered, leave us a message on our Facebook page. Make sure you go there. All of the details are on our screen. You can tweet us as well, or you can send an email to our producer, steve.whiteley@31.com.au. Now we'll be back after this short break with more QTV.
Well, everything seems to be coming along fine. Now, would you like to know what you're having?
We would.
You're having a lesbian.
Lesbian.
Thank you.
Welcome back to QTV. Now, the clip you just witnessed was a creation of Brisbane creative man Stevie Minon, who was actually one of the creative directors behind the Rip and Roll campaign. Now, that was addressing the issue of marriage equality, and as you saw, it was talking about marriage equality being important for every family, including heterosexual people who have homosexual children. Now, joining us tonight, we have Donna Goddard and her daughter Taylor. Now, Donna is the current Brisbane president of PFLAG. She's taken the reins off Shelley Argent, who stepped down in December of last year to continue her work as the national spokesperson for PFLAG. So thank you very much for joining us tonight, Donna and Taylor. To start off, if you could give me a little bit of a background about what PFLAG is and what it does and what brought you both to be part of this fantastic organisation.
So PFLAG is an organisation, obviously, that supports family and friends and other straight supporters, I guess, of the LGBT community. We fundamentally do three things, or we have three aims. The first is obviously support. So support for people who are struggling with coming to terms with their children's either sexual or gender identity. The second is education. So we're trying to, wherever we can, educate the community about LGBT issues and how they affect not just LGBT people, but also their families and their friends and all of those or straight allies, as you say. The third thing that we do is advocacy. So in the areas, again, of LGBT issues, we try and advocate for change with the government or, as required.
That's great. And so what brought you both in? Obviously, that something ties the two of you together here. Why is it important to both of you? I'll start with you, Taylor.
I guess, once, my brother came out to me, I guess it became real for me that there's people that I know and love and care about who are going to face so many challenges in life because of his sexuality. And I guess that's when I realized that it's not just up to, the LGBT community. They need straight allies too. They need heterosexual people to speak out for them as well, and they need us on their side.
And do you think that the reason that they struggle is just because society isn't being supportive?
Yeah, definitely. It's, the numbers of supporters are growing all the time, and I really feel like that's the reason why society is changing in the right direction. Hopefully, with enough education, the change speeds up.
Donna, I wanted to ask you, what do you think are some barriers towards our straight allies getting involved and supporting LGBTI people?
That's an interesting question. I think one of the things that I realised when my son came out, prior to him coming out to me, I was very concerned about him, and it was all very internal focused. When he came out to me, I suddenly looked at the world outside and went, this world is not particularly friendly to gay people, or some parts of it. And suddenly I thought, I want to do something about that. I want to change the world, so to speak. I want to do what I can to change the world, to make the world a better place for him. Having said that, I think the second thing that I realised is that as a parent, you then kind of go through this whole coming out process a little bit yourself, and it's obviously not at the same level. But there are times where you're having a conversation, the things are said, things are assumed, and there's a moment where you make a choice. Do you say, hey, my son's gay and I don't appreciate those kind of comments, or do you hold back? And it's difficult sometimes to, you're with friends, sometimes people that you care about. It's not necessarily the big bad people out there, it's society. It's the people that we've grown up with and love sometimes that challenge us. And it's difficult sometimes, but I think places like PFLAG offer that kind of support for those people, and that's why I keep going back and why I'm passionate about sticking with it.
You can hear that passion in your voice when you talk about it. It's beautiful
Thank you.
and inspiring to hear. And it's interesting too. You're both from different generations, and you would be having different conversations to those that Taylor would be. You grew up in an era where it was still okay to beat up the local person you found out was a poof.
Absolutely.
Like, for Taylor, how does that differ for you? Do you find that you have these same situations that your mum faces, or do you find that your friends are all like, hey, doesn't bother us?
It's really mostly supportive, and mostly people of my generation are all in agreement that this shouldn't be an issue anymore. Like, it should be equality. There's no question about it. but you know, you do come across people who are in disagreement, and it's just up to, then you just have to try and educate them. Yeah, I guess.
It's beautiful to hear your story, and I wish we could talk about it all night.
There's so many questions, isn't
yes.
there? Just so many things we could ask.
We need to hear
we'll
for a
have
3
you
or 4
back
hour
sometime.
show.
So.
But we do want to wrap it up with something that we do like to do here. It's the QTV Quick 6.
Okay.
So we're going to throw 6 quick questions at you.
Sure.
And I want you to give me your first answers that spring to mind.
Okay.
So, all right.
Do my best.
If you had to pick, which would it be? Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, or Ravenclaw?
Griffin.
Gryffindor?
Yeah, Gryffindor, yeah.
And Taylor?
Ravenclaw.
Ooh. Now, do you still check under your bed for monsters?
Oh, I don't anymore, but I have only recently stopped.
Taylor?
No.
I do.
Taylor, what would you say is your favourite African animal?
African animal, lion. Yeah.
Donna?
I hate to be the same, but a lion, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, Taylor, what is your favourite song to dance to?
Drop It Like It's Hot by Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
That's a classic.
I think I'm a pass on that one. I'm not sure.
And what is your favourite mocktail or cocktail?
Ooh, mojito.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was the one I had the other night? An old Cuban or
Yeah.
something? And it was lovely.
They're lovely.
That's very interesting.
Donna, did you have a nickname as a child?
My nickname actually is Donna.
Oh, really?
My real name is Madonna. Not many people know that.
Very
A lot
gay
do
friendly.
Taylor, did you have a nickname when you were a child?
No, not when I was a child, but my friends like to call me T-Pain because I'm...
Love it. Well, thank you very, very much for joining us tonight, guys.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Now, I know there's so much more to your story that can be told, and people can actually join in the meetings. How often do you hold them?
Every couple of months. That we have details on the website of all of our meetings, so that's regularly updated.
Fantastic. Well, everyone can go and jump on the website and find out all the details. You don't have to be gay. You can be one of our many, many straight allies and join the team over at PFLAG. Now, Donna and Taylor, will you stay with us for our final segment on the couch tonight?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Beautiful. We'll come and join all 5 of us back on the couch for our last segment on QTV. Welcome back to QTV. Now, there are a couple of exciting upcoming events that we'd like to remind all of our viewers to check out. Now, there is always Balls Out Bingo Night on Friday night at the Sportsman Hotel Lounge Bar. Have you been to see that?
I haven't yet.
It's very exciting. You can win prizes to help fundraise for healthy communities, LGBT health and wellbeing projects. Very much worth getting along to. Now, if you have nothing planned on a Tuesday night, be sure to check out the Wickham Hotel's weekly event, Stay Calm and Karaoke from 8 p.m. Make sure that you are well and truly lubricated with the drinks, plied and ready to go if you can go to that one, I think.
Yeah, sounds like fun though.
Look, down the Gold Coast, you've got Feathers Women's Social Club, and they're Gold Coast's longest running women's non-profit social club, and they're turning 22. Are you 22?
No, not even close.
Well, look, they're turning 22 this Saturday, the 18th of May. There's going to be guest artists and DJs to celebrate, and they're going to have a fun night and raise funds for charity. It's always a wonderful event, so all the ladies go, and yeah.
Eurovision is back. The Wickham Hotel is hosting Australia's biggest Eurovision party on Sunday 19 May for Healthy Communities fundraiser. They'll be projecting the SBS broadcast onto the big screen, and there'll be prizes for the best dressed. You could be one of them.
Thank you.
At the end of this month, Kimberly Dark is returning to Brisbane with her brand new show, Love, Sex and Laughter, a show that focuses on how male and female sexuality is different and the same, how the body is an ally, and how human connection trumps all other tragedies. Hosted again at SYC Studios, Brisbane's very own independent art space, all profits are to the artist and the studio. It's on May 24, Saturday, and doors open at 7:30 p.m. The show starts at 8:30 p.m. For more info and tickets, check out the SYC Studios website.
Now, also, Equal Love's Rally for Marriage Equality is on May 18th. So come along with your friends and your family, your co-workers and anyone you know to make this happen. It starts from 1 p.m. at Queen's Park, and we are all 5 of us going to be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Definitely.
It's tomorrow.
Yes, it is. It's tomorrow. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to say because the 3 of us will be speaking, as well as a very special straight ally of our own. Mr. Steve Whiteley may be giving a little bit of a speech there as well.
Awesome.
Yes, it'll be great. Yeah. And so, have you got any other friends that you bring along on the day with you as well?
We try and track down as many as possible. So yeah, we're likely to have a few. I would say. Yeah.
I've started bringing my mum along now. She loves it.
Yeah, great.
She likes to get a rainbow on, and yeah.
Absolutely, it's great. I take lots of photos, so I'm usually running around with a camera.
Yeah, Mum does that as well.
Yeah.
Mum takes lots of photos.
I'm going to be there with my daughter as well, so she'll get to meet you. And I think as well, she had a lot of work she had to do to understand me coming out as well. So it's hard for the children to sometimes adjust to their families changing to what everyone else at school has or whatever. Now, talking about other things that are happening, the Brisbane Pride Festival's Queen's Birthday Ball Awards are going to be held on the 9th of June, which is the Sunday. And nominations have now closed. You can jump online to the Brisbane Pride Festival's website and start voting. So make sure you have a look at those. And on the night, we'll have lots of different awards going out to many different people. There's a youth award. There's an activists award as well.
Volunteer awards as well. There's a whole lot of them. The whole list has been released now, so it is all on the website. And there's actually in some categories, there's quite a few people that have been nominated. So you have to get in and you have to vote because it's so important to recognise our community. I think we really need to recognise the people that put in the hard work and do all the wonderful things that they do in so many different areas. You know, there's a lot of areas for the community social groups, the community support groups, the volunteers, the activists, the performers, the drag queens, and who will get this year's Lifetime Achievement Award as well.
It's very true.
Yeah, make sure you grab your tickets to come along the night so you can find out as well. Now, Donna, did you have any events that you need to tell us about that we need to tell everybody else about for tonight?
We actually do. So Mount Isa PFLAG are organising a rally, it's actually a family event on the 2nd of June. I'll be speaking at that event along with Daniel Whithouse from the Beyond It's So Gay project. So that's really exciting. There's going to be lots of family focused sort of fun things to do. So that will be great. In addition to that, I'm speaking at a No to Bullying conference next week at the Gold Coast on the 22nd and the 23rd of May, but the conference goes for the 22nd and 23rd, along with Dr. Tiffany Jones from the research Writing Themselves In, and we'll be talking about how we're addressing homophobic bullying here in Queensland and what we're doing to sort of advocate with the Department of Education to address this as an issue.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Well, another thing is that this weekend, while we're at the Marriage Equality Rally, etc., it is the International Day of Against Homophobia and Transphobia, and it is being celebrated on Friday. But I know that there's quite a few organisations that are doing things over the weekend, and I suppose into next week as well. So it's I guess something that we all just need to remind ourselves and our family and friends about.
The trans people are often left out, I think, and forgotten. It's really important to include them.
Absolutely, and it's interesting, just as a quick side comment, that we're actually seeing a lot more transgender, so parents of transgender children coming to PFLAG now. So it is really important to include transgender people whenever we're talking about these sorts of issues. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because the T in LGBTIQ isn't silent.
That's correct.
That's exactly, and neither is the B for that matter.
Yes, none of them are. They're all very, very important. So that wraps us up for tonight. There's all of our events, and we will be going to attend them and reporting back with fabulous footage and lots of stories for everyone. So thank you very much, Donna and Taylor, for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
We really hope you've enjoyed coming on the show, and hopefully we'll have you back again soon.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody else, we will see you next week. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Michael James.
I'm Sharon Mulheron.
And I'm Matthew Bowe.
Advance to the absolute peak of human perfection. Human perfection. Human perfection.